Blessings and welcome to the Ascension Alchemists Podcast. It's Reverend Honey Borden, and I'm delighted to be here with you today on this wonderful last day of May as we dive into a fantastic conversation that I am delighted to have with you. This podcast, as usual, is a community. We are a community of believers, faith-filled individuals that are choosing to walk their ascension as embodiment. And what I mean by that is we're being stretched in all wonderful ways so that we can bring the presence of God Almighty into our daily life, into our bodies, into our thoughts, into our emotions, into our visions, and really just bring the heaven on earth in this true sense, because we have remembered who we are. And we have been in the spiritual community and still haven't found that true conviction. And we have been in religious, let's say, areas, and there's been something missing. So this community is like, wow, a fresh breath of air for those like, they know they have a connection with God Almighty, yet they need that truer conviction without all the dogma. So welcome home, because this is the place for it. And this is a place for it as us, Michael and I, that are living it. We're not talking about it, we're actually living it. And we get to share our personal experiences along the way. So having said all of that, some of you already know, those of you who are our followers and have been listening to the podcast, each episode coming out, you quickly download it. We're so grateful to you. So you are aware of the last 10 days, what had taken place in our condo. And I want to take that and bridge a very important, deeper understanding for all of you to also understand within yourself when something like this happens, disruption happens, water leakage happens, all these things happen, where there's that true reverence in the recognition that it happened for me because I'm so loved, not because something is wrong. So this whole podcast, this particular episode is about how loved you are in the midst of difficulty, in the midst of a life circumstance, in the midst of trouble. This is what this episode particularly is about. So let me give you a little refresher. We finally got to come back to our apartment on Thursday. When we returned back, just about everything was done, except they had not painted the wall. So they had to come back on Friday morning. But it was so amazing to finally come back, not be in the hotel. We had been eating food out. We're very, very grateful to, let's say, True Kitchen, Whole Foods, Mom's Market. There's a healthy place here where we live. We're very grateful to their food and all kinds of other foods that we really love, from the sushi to veggie Indian food and a few other things. We were very blessed that we got to eat that, and particularly our daily shakes, getting them from Lifetime, because we do belong to Lifetime. It was so wonderful. However, you've seen it, like when you start eating out every day and you're not accustomed because you cook your food at home, it starts to wear on you. And then you get like days, like by Wednesday and Thursday, me and Michael are like, we don't know what to eat anymore because we've just been eating out every single day. And we're not used to that because we love cooking at home. I prepare a lot of food. Michael cooks sometimes, and we eat super, super healthy. And we love the energy of cooking, preparing, talking, sitting down, eating, having deep conversations. So all of this was disrupted, as you all know. So to be able to come back on Thursday, back to the apartment, I just felt so grateful. I was so high and feeling so deeply grateful to be able to be back on my bed, even though we had no groceries, even though the whole place had to be like fully cleaned. I was so grateful to just wipe everything down again in the kitchen. Michael helped me inside, bringing our bins back, start putting the dishes back. And the wonderful thing was, it was like as if we had a new kitchen because we had to, since we had emptied everything out, we had to put things one by one, rewash everything. So it's just been a lot of extra work. Yet I kept telling Michael that this is happening for us even greater. I'm even more excited once we finish with this, what's on the other side. Because how many times you have had this major inconvenience? I certainly have had a flood, like water coming in the basement, completely knocking everything out, or pipes bursting. This is part of the human experience, and you have to deal with the insurance, all of that, like all the headache that comes with it. How many times, my curiosity is, when you've come around these situations, you've actually been so grateful and good attitude, and you stayed on top of it, and you just knew something even far greater would come, but your attitude was so good. You're still smiling, you're still drawing through it. And this was my opportunity during this. And so Thursday, when I was here putting everything back, I put this amazing music on. It was this actually gospel music. It was amazing. So much about God Almighty and appreciation. So it just fit perfectly. And I was putting the dishes back. I was just so high in appreciation. And I noticed Michael was not. I said, Michael, what's going on? He's like, my joy has depleted. We haven't had sun. The rain has impacted me. So it started pushing on his field. And it was so interesting as a couple to witness that, though it rained a lot, and for like 8 days, for those of you who are in the DC metro area, you saw it was like 8 days of rain. And to be able to, and a few days, not as much rain, but it was cloudy, cold, and rainy for May, end of May. So to have gone through that and come the other side of it, come at home, I'm in this high, joyous, happy place in so much gratitude. And I noticed Michael wasn't quite there. He needed some time to readjust back because it started to wear on the inside. And we're all human. We have our capacity. We reach these caps, and these caps are important because when they show up, it shows you, okay, this is what needs to stretch. Now, I have my own areas that there is a cap on it that's got to be stretched. So we all in these experience within the human suit where there are these caps that show up. And they are there actually on purpose, which I'm going to talk about it in just a minute. Yet it showed up. And what's it like where in this sacred marriage I'm in this other vibration, Michael is in this other vibration, and we're having very different experiences. And from these different experiences, like he needs more rest. He needs to just completely cut off and try to find himself rebalance. Meanwhile, I'm like, we got back, let's put everything back. So we're operating from two different operating systems. And how important it is in a sacred marriage to be able to see where each other is and to not assume the other one is going to do what the other one is about to do, but to be able to have conversation about it, to be able to be open in communication and check in where is one, and not to be drowned in the other person, especially if the other person is showing the wears and tears. The other partner is very important to stand even taller, even more stronger in those moments, so that partnership can remain very much intact. Because there are times in partnership, like I'm down, Michael steps forward so that I can be lifted. There are times that Michael is down and I have to step forward where he can rise up. So this is a very important part of the dynamic. And I'm sharing this behind the scene because I'm about to explain to you what is so important when these life circumstances do take place in our lives. So Thursday night, finally, all of that was there. We went to bed, woke up really early because the painters came to try to paint. And as they came, we noticed a few other things. So it's like, wow, we just got over this. The last part is meant for them to come clean the carpets. And thank goodness they agreed to come clean the carpets, because for me, it was unacceptable. Like, this place needs to be really clean. And I was very grateful they accepted that. Yet I had to be able to stand behind it and communicate it. So have you ever had workers come in your house and even they put, for example, these like drapes on the floor and they walk, but these drapes have been put everywhere else, and like your own floor is so like dirty now. And for me, I like my place very clean because our place is a place of worship. It's prayers and it's so much comes out of here. I want it to be radiant and clean and no dust. So I have weekly cleaner and keep it super clean on purpose, because for me it's representing God Almighty. It's like, it's like an amazing guest comes over. So I played this game with myself. If Yeshua walked in the house, is the house looking good? Like for preparing dinner. So for me, it's from that joy that I get to keep it very clean and organized. And it is that labor of love. So having said that Friday was very interesting to notice that, and for Michael to go take time to rebalance himself. And it was a interesting moment because I got to share with Michael that within this moment, how important it is for us to not, just as we've reached the finish line, to go through it and not give up, not to allow the limitations of our emotions, of our thoughts, our beliefs, our physical body kick in, because we've just been so stretched from Florida to here, but the stretching is not because we did something wrong. It's not because we're being punished. It's not because we're being attacked. It's not because dark energy is getting on. These are all thoughts of other people's thoughts, or sometimes in the spiritual community, the meaning that they give it. And I completely don't resonate with that, because you get to decide what this is. And for me, it was very clear. This is happening for us for the highest good as we're going into June. And God Almighty had shown to me, get ready for what's coming. And for what's coming, you have to remember what is on the way. You start getting the nudges for it. You have to prepare for it. So in our case, we had to close the storage in Florida. We had to come back here. We have these bins. We started having to empty it because my son said, Mom, I want you to take the bins in instead of 4 weeks, in 2 weeks. So that is what, the 12th of June that has to finish. So this is like, it's squeezing even more. And the reason for it, when it starts piling up like this, is because God Almighty, what God Almighty has prepared, you have to let go so you can handle what's ahead of you. And sometimes what's coming ahead of you, you have to be better equipped. So what happens, God Almighty puts you in a situation to see, how did you handle the situation? I disrupted, created disruption, create challenge in your workflow, in your schedule, meetings, interviews, clients. How did you handle it? Did you handle it with grace? Did you handle it with love? Did you handle it with good attitude? Or did you complain? Did you react? Did you come from a place of trigger? Were you disrespectful? Were you, just showing really, just negative attitude, because when we do not apply these greater qualities in the midst of situation, we are communicating to God Almighty, we're not equipped yet. We're not ready yet. We don't have it yet. We're still immature. We haven't matured to handle these with you through us. So therefore, God Almighty can't give you the big task. This is the key important part. I knew as this happened as we went to Florida and we came into this, the second I started seeing that water leak coming in, I knew without a shadow of that, okay, God Almighty is preparing us for something amazing, getting ready to come. We have to go through this test so it becomes a living testimony. So I'm sure you're all wondering, honey, how did you do? I'll tell you, I did freaking amazing. I'm freaking amazing. I've been in this communication with God Almighty. I'm like, God Almighty, you've been a witness. I did amazing. I went through it very well. I stayed upbeat. I had good attitude. I was very kind and loving, gracious. There was so much disruption. I did not complain by then one bit. I continued to journal. I continued to walk, being gratefulness. I turned whatever had happened, I turned it around like to my advantage. And I really showed up, not from my human self. I allowed God all my strength to lead me. And this was a big breakthrough for me, because there has been time that exhaustion, tiredness would kick in and would just throw my nervous system, throw my emotions. So then from there, I would just spiral down, and I didn't allow it. I remained in the abundant energy of God Almighty. Now, why I'm excited in the celebration of it, why I'm sharing it with you, because I'm sure you have had life experiences that's just been uncomfortable and disruption, and it's like your whole day or your week has turned around and there's just much more workload, and you're like, it doesn't even make sense, I don't want to do this, but you're gonna have to do it. And you adjust your attitude, you put on your good attitude, and you go through it. And then next thing you know, after, there's this like remarkable life reward that you weren't even expecting shows up, because that's how it works. And it's not because you did the hard work. It's not that. It's the attitude, because you included God Almighty into your situation, into your circumstance, and you allowed God Almighty to do the work for you and through you. And that's a very different experience. Now, Michael did, for the most part, amazing. He had little fall. So that's part of him that needs to adjust for him. So if something shows up next time, he'll be able to totally pass that test. So that way it can become a direct living experience and testimony for him. And this is very important as a couple, because sometimes in couples, we are having different experiences and it's not meant to be the same. And it is important not try to save each other, not try to yank each other out, yet give the space for each individual to have their growth and their experience that they're supposed to go to. So with all of these, what I want to share, again, we are not denying the lack of sleep, the change of schedule, all the disruption. Nobody's denying it. It's just we're not giving it the attention because we're aware it's happening, but we're putting all of our attention on the presence of God Almighty, and through joy and celebration, thanksgiving, to move through it in a very different way. It is a living method to actually do this. And if you followed me from the beginning of the year, 2026, I kept mentioning this is the year of celebration. You can celebrate going through this, even the challenging things. When you choose celebration, you're putting your attention of choosing. It is about choice through your awareness. And when you do that, then you have a different authority in you. And out of that authority, you're operating differently as well. And from that, then the other things, because you've passed it, they will unfold in front of you. And the rewards, you receive the rewards of this way of operating. So amazing. And the rewards are, for example, these past 2 days, absolutely gorgeous blue sky, perfect weather, going out and being in just magnificent, like, radiance. Being able to have, for example, Michael's mom coming and taking us to dinner, surprising us, or all kinds of things like this taking place, which is an amazing blessing. So why I'm sharing this with you is that a lot of times what happens in life, we, from our narrow lens, give it a meaning. And that meaning that we give it to is often from our childhood experiences. Because, like, let's say something happened and we made a conclusion, that's the reality. And then from there, from our childhood experience, we've been operating that way ever since. And we have decided reality from that limited lens, or the lens of the hurt or the pain, which isn't the truth at all. So life loves us so much. God Almighty loves us so much. God Almighty is going to give us other opportunities, hundreds of opportunities, so that we experience another, let's say, life encounter, be given the opportunity to go through it and be gracious with it. And once we're gracious with it, then it doesn't have to repeat and it moves forward. And out of that, we've become a different person. So it is the journey of becoming, because you have to understand, like, when you created, when God Almighty first decides, okay, I'm going to create, let's say, like Susan, I'm going to put the seed of Susan, and Susan has all of these things that she's going to go through in life, and she's going to deliver her purpose in this way. So everything is part of her journey to her purpose, and the challenges are part of that reshaping character development. It's amazing. And without not doing that, person won't deliver the purpose, they won't bear the fruit that is part of their purpose, and they're frankly not going to experience that goodness and greatness in life. So when there's not fulfillment, what happens? There's depression, there's anxiety, there is all kinds of other things. Then there is self-sabotage, then there is hurting others out of it. Then you destroy life, addictions, everything comes from that. And it is something to witness. And it all starts with, what meaning are you giving it? So my question for you is, let's say you're driving on the highway and you get a flat tire. What meaning are you giving it? Are you thinking, oh my gosh, somebody, like, for example, this I really had a hard time with this growing up, because in the Middle Eastern culture, I'm from Iran. I was born in Iran. If something happens like that, they'd right away say, oh, you got the evil eye. And this used to really bother me. And for many years, of course, I practiced it, like, oh, evil eye protector everywhere. So I don't get the evil eye. Because I grew up, that's all I ever knew. And it took me a while that I was like, you know what? This isn't truth. I don't believe in this. And I don't like the way it is. I'm not going to choose to believe in this anymore. And I let it go. I let it go like over 20 years ago. And it doesn't touch me. It doesn't even affect, because I am not in contracting belief or standing in agreement with that belief. So it doesn't, they're beautiful, but I don't buy the intention behind it anymore. So if tire goes out, the meaning that I give it is, wow, God Almighty, thank you so much. You just protected me from something that I didn't even know what it was. I'm so grateful to have this moment. I'm so grateful to just have this pause while you're clearing the path. That's the meaning that I live by. And it's completely different. It's so loving. There's no fear in it. And only greatness comes out of it. So going back, the life circumstance you're having, it's up to you what meaning you give it. It's up to you the choice how you choose to go through it. It could be your health. It could be your child going through something. It could be, client. It could be like financial. It is truly up to you through awareness what meaning you are choosing to give it. Because if your meaning that you're giving it to the circumstance situation is coming from here, that I got the evil eye, dark energy attacked me, it was a psychic attack, or it was, for example, devil trying to get me, all of this stuff, then you're contracting with that consciousness and you're experiencing much more of that. I completely let go of these years ago. I said, absolutely not. I don't buy into that. That's not my truth. And really, this happened after my NDE. So I was like, no. And I turned my life around. I'm so much happier. Anything happens, I'm grateful. There is not even a zero thought that, oh, dark or spell or any of that. Nothing. And even when people ask me, honey, do you do healing for example, if there's spells or voodoos, I've been very, very much instructed by God Almighty to help them rise up and take their power back, and to know none of that can touch them whatsoever. It can only touch them because they believe in it. That's it. It is a law. And he said the law is very simple. You believe it will hurt you, so it does. You believe it has no power over you, it can't touch you. It's that simple. So with that, again, it's the awareness, then the meaning, choice, and then you have to actually go through it. So you have to go through the process so that muscle can come online. So what happens, what I found when I go through these, there are these hidden gems on the inside that I haven't seen yet. And when I'm sort of like bottleneck squeeze, then these gifts come out of me. And as these gifts come out, I am bearing witness to the newer version of me. And this newer version of me is like, wow, who's this new person? This is great. I like the way this is, and I can experience it in the body. And then I'm speaking from that. I'm living for that. So it becomes a living embodiment. And as truth, the words of truth. And this is not then something that I try to convince anyone or any of that, because it's not required. It becomes a living testament, a living testimony. And I can always see, wow, like last night, as I was sitting here writing my journal, I'm like, wow, God Almighty, I am so grateful for you being the living testament behind this. Like I can see your hands behind all of this and how you brought us on the other side. So amazing and so beautiful. We did very well individually and as a couple, and now we're going to go into June and July and be a witness to the amazing things you have planned, because you now see we are capable and we're responsible and we have good attitude to experience bigger things. So that's really how it works. So next time, if you're coming across these kinds of things, just take a moment, not give it a meaning right away from that limited lens. Drop into God Almighty, invite God Almighty into your present situation, and from there, let go of the problem. Give it to God Almighty so God Almighty can carry it for you, so you can replace within that strength on the inside. And from there, do your step one step at a time. Stay in faith, stay in trust, praise and thanksgiving every step of the way, several times a day. And as you go through it, notice how you're moving through it. And if you're finding yourself defaulting to your old self, bring it back. Nope. I'm going to choose God Almighty's praise inside of me instead. That this is happening for me. It's not happening against me. All is good. I can trust this process. So these are all the ways that you become your own best friend and you stand in agreement with God Almighty versus being your own enemy. Because let's face it, the enemy is on the inside. It is not on the outside. We all have this enemy on the inside that comes to disrupt, to destroy, to sabotage, to take our joy out. And always it starts with a belief and a thought that unleashes that we can't catch it. Then it produces all these awful emotions, and then it spirals, and next thing you know, it's like poison has gotten all in your body and you feel horrible. And I know this because I've been there hundreds of times and I've had to clean this. And this is, by the way, this is why Michael and I taught the Belief, Thought, Emotion, Self-Mastery course. It's 14 modules. We had to go through it ourselves. We had to learn how to do this so I can easily speak of it from a place of embodied truth and then teach it so that you can learn. You don't have to suffer. You don't have to operate that way. You don't have to be a victim of life. You can be victorious. Why you got to be a victim of life? God did not create you to be a victim. Though you're going to go through a situation, yes, it hurts, but the hurt does not have to dominate your life. That course is revolutionary. We really believe everybody needs to take it just so that they can get there, come back, and not be a victim to this emotional roller coaster, as I'm sure some of you are still operating from that place of emotional roller coaster, and you're like, done. You don't want to be experiencing this. You want stability, but stability cannot come while that is still taking place. So I highly, highly recommend it. It is on our website, ascensionalchemists.com. You go under courses. It is Belief, Thought, Emotion, Self-Mastery. It's 14 modules. It's $2,222. Completely it should be so much more because of the richness of the details we take you through, and you come on the other side of it. You can do it in 3 weeks, in 3 months, and 2 weeks if you do it on a once a week and actually apply the principles we taught you. So it's something that's taken us 20 some years. We taught it over a year, and you get to experience it in this time. So the value is incredible, and it's up to you. Anyway, so as I'm finishing this episode with you, there are a couple of things with me. Here's what was interesting. During this process, we got notification from the podcasting world that we have made it to the global top 10%. Yes, yes, yes. Thanks to all of you that are also listening, downloading the episode. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you so much. We're so grateful what we're sharing is resonating with you. So please, please, for those of you who are downloading, I don't know who you are. A few of you I know, but I don't know. Please drop a note. Say, I listened to this, so we know what episode you listened to. How did it resonate? Let us know so we can actually personally thank you. But that global reach is very important for us. So this episode coming out is the 80th episode. We have 20 more episodes to reach our milestone of the 100th episode. So what has happened by reaching this top 10% global ranking in our niche, which is the spiritual world, the spirituality, what that has done is that has allowed Apple Podcasts and Spotify and Amazon Music to bump us so that when people go put the search, let's say NDE, let's say a sacred partnership, divine marriage, let's say they put the keyword of God Almighty, let's say living on faith and trust, we will show up for those who are desiring for these kinds of conversations and communication. So we're very, very grateful like to countries that we don't like. It's surprising to us that we have all these listeners there. So and again, it's not about us. It's the way this podcast is being utilized. So the words of God Almighty, through the way I'm experiencing life, through the way Michael is experiencing life, through the way our marriage is experiencing life, we are going through it and we are developing a language for it. So then we get to share it with you. So that way, if you're going through this, you're like activated in that. Wow. So here's the normal way of doing it. And here's God Almighty's way. I can also choose to operate in this way. And by doing so, I'm bringing also the blessings of the heavenly realm into this world. So I'm fulfilling a promise, I'm fulfilling a purpose. And how beautiful is that? Because Michael and I are just one part of the puzzle. There are 8 billion people here, and we each have a responsibility to do our part. We just have remembered our part. So we are dedicated and devoted and committed to fulfill that. And as you are listening to this, I am sure you are part of that desire to live the greatest version of you, not for you, for God Almighty, so you can bring about the greatest gift, so you can really enjoy life, and your human gets to enjoy life, and you get to bring these prosperous blessings into this world, and they are meant to be shared. These are all meant to be shared. This is why this is free. We share it abundantly with you, and then we get compensated when we do our private clients. So it's all part of this way of sharing and collaborating and gifting to this world, which I found it to be very, very beautiful. So that's on that. Today, as I'm sharing this with you, in just a little bit, I'm going to go to a private movie screening about horses doing healing for people. And this is one of our dear friends, Chris and Clark, that they have a farm and they have horses. And Michael and I, they've been part of our life for several years. And I've actually done the designing in part of their home before, and it's so beautiful. So I'm going to go watch this movie, and it's going to be amazing to witness the beautiful gift of horses that they offer to the humans, which I've just been so blessed to be on the receiving end of horses offering that blessing and healing. So it's going to be really, really great. And then going into the month of June, I'm so excited about June. It's a beautiful month. My son is turning 23, my youngest one. I'm so excited. And there are a couple of trips coming up for Michael and I. And there's these tightening things coming up. Most important, exciting news that I want to share with you is towards the end of June, I have finally, after several months, I've been working quite a bit behind the scene on this very, very important thing, which has to do the way I was shown to pray. And a lot of you know that I'm very strong in the power of prayer. We have prayer circle in our private association, as well as the people that I am blessed to pray over. And I have a specific way and method that I do that comes from the as a living testimony that started 26 years ago with my son. When he was born, he was ill. How I turned to prayer instead of what they wanted to do with the medical establishment. The other part is when I went to Brazil, the way angels showed me what happens to prayer when people release the prayers, and what's an effective prayer, and what angels do. So I put all of these together in a very profound teaching, and that's coming up end of June. So stay tuned. You're going to hear all about that, and I'm so excited to share that with all of you. Excuse me. So that's all I got today. Blessed Sunday as you get to hear it this on Monday. I love you all. Thank you so much for being you. Thank you so much. When you're going through a life challenge, you will release God's presence in you. Excuse me, more water. 1 second. There's a lot of pollen here. It sits in the throat. So thank you for that. I pray over you this week that you will allow the presence of God Almighty in your situation, whatever situation you're going through, and you let go of the wheel a little bit. You let God Almighty carry you so that you can be more lighthearted. You can experience more trust and faith in that space, and you don't have to suffer. There's no reason for suffering. You can choose to celebrate still. You can still joy through it because you're going to have a whole different experience in that very experience. And it's up to you. And I trust my words landed in your heart, maybe now or maybe later, however it is. I just want you to know I appreciate you so much, and I'm very grateful that you're part of this community. And I'm genuinely curious, what is, a situation that you've just navigated and you did it in this way? Please let me know. I want to hear about it. How did you navigate it? Who did you become as a result of it? I would really love to know. So let me know. Leave me a comment. Please leave a comment on the Apple Podcast. That will really help us. Give us a star. Let me know, did you like this episode? Do you have any questions? What are your questions? We would love to know. So with that, blessed and glorious and amazing week to you. And we'll see you on the next episode. Thank you so much.